Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to First Cut. This is our spoiler review of the Fantastic Four, The First Steps. I'm here with RB3 to talk about it. RB3, finally. It's been a long time in the making, but we are here to break down the Fantastic Four. What did you think of this movie, man? This was Marvel's big summer movie.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. You know, Fantastic Four was a good summer romp. I think it had a lot of great qualities. The cast was great. The chemistry was good. Vanessa Kirby was definitely a standout. The Thing had some nice humanizing moments. I think it was short. I wish it was longer. I think that's the biggest thing that I pointed out, and a lot of people pointed out. You know, you can clearly see the cuts. There's definitely some story issues, some flow issues that you're like, okay, it's kind of jumping from here and there. And then it doesn't really get exciting until Galactus comes into the picture. But when Galactus comes into the picture, then it gets off to the races. So, yeah, I liked it a lot. You know, it's a really good movie. It's not better than Thunderbolts, in my opinion. It's not better than Superman, in my opinion. But I still think it's a great film.
Yeah, for sure, man. I feel like, obviously, it's getting a lot of positive reception. I think the biggest reason why, if I'm being honest, is the cast. I think the cast is great. Whether it's Johnny Storm or The Thing, or like you said, Vanessa Kirby just killing it. That's what she does. She's great. And then obviously Pedro as Reed. I feel like this cast and these characters, what these characters have represented throughout time, right, is really something that people, for the most part, know and love already and appreciate. They love the nerdy super braininess of Reed. They love the brashness of Johnny. They love the heart of The Thing, and they love the power and the emotion of Sue. So I feel like that's already at its core. All you need to do is nail that, and most people are going to like it. I think the film itself suffers quite a bit. I feel like the cast is trying to hold it together, but for the most part, I don't think it works completely, mainly because of what you said. This is another extremely rushed Marvel project, desperate to get to the finish line and get to the end without really taking care of giving its characters more time to breathe, more time to generate emotion and empathy and emotional moments that really hit with the audience, and create a script, a third act that feels like it's relevant and powerful and not just incredibly rushed, which I felt like it was. So I don't know. To me, this is Marvel doing Marvel. They're trying to get to the end. They're rushing to get under 2 hours. They're cutting everything they can absolutely cut. It feels very much packaged, test audienced, all placed in a little box, perfectly placed in this Marvel formula that just I'm really getting tired of. And it's kind of exhausting to see another incredibly rushed Marvel project. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they said Captain America Brave New World was going to be the last one that was like kind of chopped to pieces, and all the other, you know, Thunderbolts and going forward were going to be, you know, more back to normal, back to speed. But Thunderbolts felt like a complete full movie. This one felt like 90% of a movie, like it was almost there, but you could definitely tell the beats were missing. It's so funny you mentioned that people care about the Fantastic Four. I don't really know how much people care about the Fantastic Four, right? Because, you know, the OG franchise, which I love, those are some of the first superhero movies I ever saw in theaters. Of course, like Spider-Man 1 and 2, the Sam Raimi ones, like I saw too. But those Fantastic Four movies, I remember going on my birthday. They came around May, June 2005, 2007. Like literally, I think for my 10th birthday, we went to TGI Fridays for lunch and dinner, and then we went to see Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer with me and my cousin Benjamin. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they're a great place in my heart. No, but when you look at the box office records, like the box office wasn't really that great on those. Fan Four Stick, of course, had his own problems, which shout out to our man Josh Trank. You know, he gave us the whole story on that whole situation on the Meaning of Podcast. If you're still trying to check that out,
people from Stan Lee's generation, they wanted the diversity up front and center. That was everything that was important to them. That's why they created characters like Black Panther, like Luke Cage, like that's where that came from. So I knew that that's something that Stan Lee would be into, and he was immediately. Like, we started talking about Chronicle, and I just said, "Did you like Michael B. Jordan?" He was just like, the mighty Michael B. Jordan. Like, immediately he's like throwing his like Stan Lee, stamp on it. And I said, "What do you think about him as Johnny Storm?" And he goes, "I love it." I was mostly interested in a black Sue Storm and a black Johnny Storm and a black Franklin Storm. But I also, when you're dealing with the studio on a massive movie like that, everybody wants to keep an open mind to like who the big stars are going to be. Like, well, maybe it'll be like Margot Robbie or something like that. But when it came down to it, I found a lot of pretty heavy pushback on casting a black woman in that role.
Wow.
In a way that I was very disappointed by for obvious reasons, and confused by. I couldn't quite get a solid answer on where exactly that was coming from. Mm-hmm. But every time I would try to put these other names into the conversation, and I found myself in a bit of a holding pattern. Like, I was being put in a holding pattern on like getting approval on getting certain names into the casting conversation, until I basically was confronted with the reality that like, oh, this massive multinational corporation, they just don't like black women in leading roles.
Josh Trank broke down that whole situation. That wasn't his fault. But yeah, I mean, it's like 3 times in a row, I kind of feel like we've had Fantastic Four movies that have been kind of meddled with by the studio, kind of botched, kind of overproduced. And, but the point that I was getting to is Rise of the Silver Surfer and the OG one, they did good box office. They didn't do Spider-Man numbers. The Fan Four Stick didn't do great. This one is doing okay. Kind of wondering how much people care. I mean, for me, honestly, the thing I think most about the Fantastic Four is I think The Incredibles, which, is another Disney Pixar thing, and they kind of always alluded to that. And B, honestly, Marvel Rivals. Like Marvel Rivals, this basically the whole past year they've been doing like this whole Fantastic Four season, and if you pay for the stuff, you could like see more of the story. I don't really care about that, but they really did upgrade Sue's power set, especially in Marvel Rivals, and I feel like we're seeing the version of that on screen that we get like much more of a powerful thing. So I feel like they're now seeing like, oh man, maybe people care about this because the video game, like a little bit more. But I don't know. I don't really know how much of a franchise Fantastic Four is, because clearly the audience is like kind of iffy on it, and I feel like, dang, these producers are just like they don't like it either. I mean, like, and by the way, I see a lot of people online blaming my man Kevin Feige for this situation. I don't blame the hat. I don't blame Kevin. He's still a great dude, great producer in my opinion. He's made some all-time hits. Gave us helped put Black Panther to up on screen. So he can't do that much wrong in my eyes. I think it's maybe a Bob Iger kind of situation. I don't know, but I still in Feige we trust a little bit.
I don't know, man. I mean, you're only as good as your last W, bro. And when was his last W? I mean,
I
at some point,
was a W. I say Thunderbolts was a W.
But at some point, you got to start looking at what the formula is, and it's his formula. And at some point, you got to be like, all right, man, you're top dog. Why did these movies keep getting cut up to shreds? And you feel like the filmmaker wants to cook, and every time he wants to cook, Kevin is in the kitchen being like, yo, chill. No. We can't be doing that. And it's like, why not? All the best Marvel movies ever have all been over 2 hours. And it's like this obsession with being under 2 hours is like killing them. And this like test audience, like overly test audience, I'm telling you, man, they're testing the crap out of these movies like never before, is absolutely killing them. It's killing them. Because of course audiences are going to be like, yeah, I like the part when they're not talking. I just like the action scenes. Push the button. And it's like, of course audiences are going to do that. But you got to ignore those damn test audiences and be like, I want to make a good movie. I don't care if audiences don't like to listen and don't like talking. Like, well, at some point you got to put your foot down and let the filmmaker make a film. I don't know, man. I'm tired of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's fascinating about this one is that they didn't just cut talking scenes. They seemingly cut action sequences and villains, and John
Yeah.
Malkovich, who's like low-key an A-lister in and of himself, and he just got completely nixed out of the film. But I think it just goes to show that there was something definitely going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. People have speculated that they potentially ran out of time on the visual effects, that could have been a thing, and then like the whole stuff with Red Ghost and the apes and John Malkovich might have just been an effects thing that they didn't have enough time for, and then Disney didn't want them to push the date. That's one speculation. Other people are speculating that again, the Occam's razor, which is the most obvious option, they're trying to cut it down to like save time, save on pacing and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know what it came down to. I do say I saw it twice, and I do kind of see the spot where that Red Ghost sequence could have been, because on the Ted Gilbert, because they have there's that joke at the end, right? It's spoiler alert, by the way. We kind of talk spoilers in case you haven't watched Fantastic Four yet. At the very, very end, when they're on the Ted Gilbert show and they kind of run out of the thing because they have the baby or whatever, I feel like that's a punchline to a joke that we never had set up, right? I think the setup was actually the first time they went on the Ted Gilbert show at the very, very beginning of the film, when they're like introducing the Fantastic Four, and then the curtains pull up, and then it just randomly goes to the title card, and then the scene's over. I think right there, like, the Fantastic Four got another alert on their thing. They ran out, got in their car, and then fought like Red Ghost and the monkeys and all that stuff, John Malkovich, and then that was like the whole big intro action sequence, because that whole first chunk really didn't have any action until we got to the Galactus thing, or until Silver Surfer like came into it. So I really do feel like they had a whole opening action beat that they just nipped out, and also kind of ruined the punchline to a joke that we never got the setup for later in the film. So it's like, come on, Disney, like, why'd y'all do that? Why'd y'all do that? We can see it. Why'd you do it?
It's annoying, man. I really feel like this needs, again, and I stand by this. Think of your favorite Marvel movie. Most of the time, it's gonna be a complete story and not like a half done, like chopped up type of movie. And this is obviously an industry-wide type issue where a lot of movies are doing this nowadays. But I feel like Marvel really needs to start actually trusting their filmmakers once again and stop cutting up movies to the point of, as I said before, incomprehensibility. Like, these movies have to be comprehensible. You got to follow them. You got to feel like you're actually learning about the characters and such. And I feel like they're doing everything they can to undo that. And it's frustrating because I want them to succeed. I like the cast. So I want the cast to do well. I want the movie to do well. So I feel like just the movie just falls apart in a lot of areas, and it feels so rushed that I'm just like in my chair being like, please slow down. Just please, just pump the brakes a little bit. I need a chance to breathe. And I never got that. So
yeah, actually, I don't mind the not needing to breathe after a point. Like, I actually like the fact that, like, when they got to Galactus, they get back to Earth. Like, I kind of like that the movie doesn't stop at that point, because it's like, it's kind of been 40 minutes, like 50 minutes. But I think the first act of any movie is the time that you want to introduce everything, introduce characters, introduce arcs. I feel like Sue and Reed had a fantastic arc. Of course, they had a baby. Like, that's a crazy arc right there. I feel like Johnny had a good arc with him learning about the language and kind of maybe liking this like Silver Surfer thing. I thought that was kind of cheap though too. I thought that was a really cheap way to get him involved in it. Like, come on, y'all could be smarter than that. I feel like the one who definitely suffered the most was Ben Grimm's The Thing, played by Evan Moss Baccarat, which is sad because honestly, performance wise, like, he was kind of one of the funnier characters. But I do think that probably because, again, visual effects, like they can probably afford to do a bunch of visual effects on him. So they probably cut a lot of his scenes, and as a result, also cut a lot of Natasha Lyonne's scenes, who kind of only shows up for like really like 2.5 minutes of the entire runtime. So it's like, again, we got another, like, maybe she's not A-lister, maybe like a top tier B-lister kind of like cast member just kind of shuffled off. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know, But that's not to say I did really enjoy the movie. We're speaking negatively, but I enjoyed it. I thought all of their powers were cool. I thought it looked great. Like, even though they probably did cut things for VFX, what was in the film, it looked amazing. And also, Ralph Ineson as Galactus was also phenomenal as well.
I agree with that. Shout out to the Green Knight. He's back, killing it. Yeah, the cast was great, man. I just really do feel like the cast held it together, the characters held it together. But you're right, man. Their arcs were a little like, I don't want to say thin, but thin, where they were introducing certain areas and aspects of their arcs, and they never really completed it. Like the Ben Grimm one, which was very much like, hey, look at that girl, she's cute. Anyways, back to Galactus. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
We didn't go anywhere with that. And then same with the Johnny stuff. The Johnny stuff felt a little forced.
Yes.
Where with the Silver Surfer, we're like, you like her, you think she's beautiful. And it's like, oh, you're telling us that he thinks this rather than showing us a lot more. So that was a little quick. And then obviously his little interaction stuff was cool. I liked it, but it was so quick. Like, again, if you time it up and as far as screen time wise, as far as his arc with Silver Surfer, it's probably like 5-7 minutes. And at most. So the people who do get the most is Reed and Sue. But even, I would say Reed gets a little, like, I don't want to say undercut, but gets a little less to do than I thought. He's mainly like busy with his head down doing math and stuff, but Sue definitely takes the cake when it comes to the actual Fantastic Four cast. But they're all great. Same with Julia Garner. I think she's great. I like the one scene that I really liked. I don't know if you agree with this or not. Is the chase scene? I thought that chase scene was cool.
Yeah.
That chase scene was cool. I was like, oh shoot.
The chase scene leading into the black hole
Yep.
sequence. Oh,
That
my
was
goodness.
cool. That was cool.
Okay, for one, I saw the movie in both. I saw it in both IMAX, like regular. Well, not regular, but the City Walk one. That was like the super tall one, the 143. I saw it the first time that way, and then the second time I saw it in IMAX 3D. So both times, like, man, my mind was just blown by like the spectacle in that moment. Like, you know, her phasing in and out of the ship. Like, she dang near touched the baby at one point with the. I was like, yo, wait, yo, it was kind of nasty. But yeah, no, it was dope, man. That was definitely the best sequence, and then that definitely drove the rest of the film to more enjoyability, I feel like. You know?
Yeah, that definitely, in my opinion, saved a lot of what my enjoyment of the film for sure, because it was definitely a well done sequence, and it made Silver Surfer really cool as well. And the team working together and stuff like that was very exciting. So
yeah, Johnny having to bend the beams. Like,
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
doing
cool.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
It was cool. I really liked that scene, and obviously, again, I enjoyed the cast. I wish we got more of them. That's all. Like, that's really all it is. And I feel like if you did give us more, if you did give us 10, 15 more minutes, people would have liked it more, and word of mouth would have been a lot better, and word of mouth could have carried this movie a lot further. So
I still like Disney, like give us the extended version. Like I'm like, at this point the movie already kind of, I mean, we could talk about it. The movie didn't do well in the box office, you know what I'm saying?
It did well its first week.
Yeah, first week it did okay.
Did pretty good.
Big drop. Yeah, it did good. But big drop, and it looks like it's not going to break even, or if it does, like, just barely. And I think that's sad, because I do think there's actually two problems here that I think Disney needs to address. For one, stop cutting their movies down. For two, stop putting the third act in these trailers. Like, why do we need to see Galactus hitting the city? Like, we did not need to see that anywhere. That could have been a cool surprise, because by the time we get to the end, we already kind of know. Same thing with Sentry and Thunderbolts. Like, we saw that blacking out the city. Same thing with Captain America. Like, the Red Hulk was like this front and center, and that was the last 10 minutes of the film. Like, y'all leaving nothing to the surprise anymore by marketing these films this way. But I'm saying all that to say, the Marvel brand, this is the critical time to recover. You know what I'm saying? Like, they actually have the right pool of filmmakers. They have, Jake, whatever his name was for Thunderbolts. Matt Shackman, I think, is a great director from what we've seen from WandaVision and what we've seen from his other TV work. This is one of his first, like, full features, like, big budgets at least. I want to see a Matt Shackman cut, man. Just let him cook. Let him, y'all let James Gunn cook. Y'all let Ryan Coogler cook. I know it's a different era now, but let him go back to cooking. Like, we don't need to get our hands all in the sauce and start, making it nasty. And if they do that, and I'm telling, if they try that to my man Coogler on Black Panther 3, he's up out of there. Like, Coogler got too much clout to even be messing with y'all on that level.
They can't touch him right now, bro.
Yeah.
Nobody can. I mean, they couldn't touch him in Wakanda Forever. Like, that movie's like 225, and you bet
that movie's like 240, bro.
I think it's like 230, But you could tell, like, Ryan was like, nah, We leaving it
Right.
in. We leaving this
Yeah.
in. If anything, like they were like, all right, fine, but you have to add these 5 scenes.
Yeah, they did. They did force stuff in
They
there for
forced
sure.
stuff in there, and I'm just like, all right. But you could tell Ryan was like, all right, fine, but I'll make the movie I want to make. And like, you're right. Same with James Gunn. Would Guardians be as big as it was if this was our introduction to the Guardians of the Galaxy, this Fantastic Four movie? No, it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
And it's because, again, like you said, they let James Gunn cook. That movie's like 215, 220. Like, again, stop stressing about these run times and start making good movies again. And again, this ridiculous obsession with like, it's got to be under 2 hours. It's got to be. Why can't it be 205, 208, 20, whatever it is? Just like make it a good movie. I'm not saying make it long, but don't cut it to the point of incomprehensibility and you can't follow along and it feels rushed. I don't know. It's got to end somewhere, man, and I hope it ends soon because I guarantee you the Russos are not going to let Kevin Feige make them cut up Doomsday to crazy effect, right? I doubt it, bro. The Russos?
I mean, well, you know, I
There has
actually
to be
don't-
something in the contract that says if we come back, we're coming back to
Oh, they
make a
probably-
long ass movie again.
Yeah, they probably got some form of. I don't know if they have some sort of final cut or not. What we'll say is like, yeah, we do know that you know, Russo brothers, they got the clout, they got the ego for sure, and we saw with Electric State, like that was a 3 hour piece of dong. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, though, I can see either Kevin Feige or Bob Iger even watching Electric State, looking at that being 3 hours, looking at it being 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, and one of the lukewarm, not a blockbuster for Netflix, like, you know, I don't want to say it's a flop on Netflix, but I didn't hear anybody talking about it. I feel like they look at that and they're like, maybe we can control these guys a little bit. Like maybe we do have a leverage, and I feel like they definitely gonna be trying to be like, okay, Russos, those are good, that's good, but what about an extra scene when Doom and the baby like interact for the toys? You know, it's like I feel like that's like the kind of things that they're gonna like kind of squeeze in.
You say that, man, but they saw that and they still hired them, bro. They were
I mean,
like, they brought him out at Comic Con, and I was like, ain't no way. This is trash. The Russos, that's the most uninspired director's choice in a minute, bro. That is uninspired, man. We'll see what they. Oh, I guess they're not in charge of Dustin, right? Because it would be Sony. Sony would be the one who's overseeing Brand New Day.
Oh yeah, and you know what? Brand New Day, Destin Daniel Cretton. He was originally supposed to do Doomsday. And every single picture that comes out of that shoot for Spider-Man so far looks 10 out of 10. Like, yo, they got one shot of Spider-Man looking sad on top of the police car. I'm like, oh, yo, what is the context? I need to see this right now. You know. I'm like, man.
You
know?
could tell, like, he came up to Sony and he was like, yo, Sony, let me cook.
Right. Yeah, they gonna
And they're like, yo, you got it, man. Whatever you need. So I'm sure it'll be, I don't know. I'm sure he's going to have fun at least making the movie. Because I'm sure he's, you know, used to having a lot more hands in the kitchen when it comes to something like, even though, I mean, I can't talk too much shit because Sony's made some of the worst movies ever.
oh yeah.
When it comes to the Spider-Man universe, but gotta trust the director and gotta trust the vision what they have right now. Speaking of which, man, how you feeling about Marvel right now as far as the direction they're going and what they have lined up?
Well, you know, man, it's tough. Well, for one, we talked about Ironheart on the channel. I love Ironheart. The Ironheart was great. I started the first episode of Eyes of Wakanda. I thought that first episode was great. I haven't finished it yet just because I've just been super busy these past couple weeks. Or I think it just came out this week. So I've been busy this past week. But that's phenomenal as well. But again, those are two black properties that they just kind of jettisoned off to Disney Plus. And at the same time, it's like, I'm glad they got released. I'm like, is the Disney Plus just a throwaway platform now? Especially seeing how, you know, quickly they're just kind of putting, like, they put Captain America 3 on there, or Captain America 4 on there super quick, you know, like, just to kind of hurry it out. And, you know, I kind of have a feeling they're going to do the same with Thunder. I think they already announced the date for Thunderbolts. I feel like that's a little bit of a problem, too, though. I feel like that kind of gets audiences untrained from going to the theaters and, like, watching it and actually, like, being invested and caring. So, it's a catch-22. I want to see them release more and do more. Actually, no. Let me say this. I want to see them do less, but I appreciate for what they were doing. Ironheart, Eyes of Wakanda. They had another brilliant POC. I mean, in a way, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man was like a black creator, a black guy, a brother created it, and then they had one right before that. That I was like, dang, Marvel, y'all kind of cooking. But you know, POCs, they kind of putting them to the leads, but it's only on Disney Plus, and on the theatrical side, it's like Thunderbolts is like a completely white cast almost. Like Fantastic Four, Pedro's the only one holding it down. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, you could tell. You could tell. I mean, we talked about this off camera and stuff. You could tell this is like a mandate, like an almost like I saw someone in on TikTok talk about how she's in casting rooms now, and they're kind of going out of their way to be like she called it anti DEI, where they're trying to hire basically whites only white people.
You said that for Superman,
bro. I mean, am I wrong though? Was I wrong though?
Or there's some black people in there.
Yeah, too.
Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific was great. I give you that. But you could tell like there is kind of like this weird thing going on, and I feel like they're measuring the audiences and they're seeing what other movies are doing well, and they're correlating the obvious effect that we're all moving towards the right to a rapid pace to the point now that people make videos about I saw a black person on my trailer of my favorite movie and now I protest the movie. It's getting that bad. Obviously, we've seen it come up for years, but it's getting much worse. And this is something that Hollywood studios are actually listening to, which is some crazy bullshit. But you're right, man. They let Ironheart cook. It was great. But you can kind of tell they're not probably going to bring her back. And I have that fear, but it's probably going to be the case. I doubt we're going to see her again. And that's heartbreaking, in my opinion. And Kevin Feige almost low-key kind of confirmed it when he talked in that interview in Variety. Was it Variety or Hollywood Reporter? Did you read that by any chance?
Yeah, right.
He kind of confirmed it. He was like, yeah, we tried some stuff and we most likely won't bring them back. Some of the stuff in the Disney Plus era. And he basically even said that about Kamala, about characters we've seen on Disney Plus, that they most likely won't be back in their own show and in their own kind of capacity. It'll most likely be in a cameo or in a like surprising kind of cast role, supporting role in a separate project or something like that. It feels very much like that's where we're headed. We're headed towards this kind of area where we tried the open door aspect of it on Disney Plus, and now we're headed in a direction where we're taking full control and we're going to cut out characters that were representing other groups of people that we don't usually see on TV or in movies, and now we're going to just nix them in the bud. And I told you, bro, I told you this last year. It started with, I mean, in my opinion, it started way before this, but it really cemented it with Deadpool and Wolverine. It did. Like, you can't lie. And the numbers reflect it, the reviews reflect it, and it shows. And it really is disappointing that that's what Marvel's been doing. I did, however, like Kevin's response to some of the stuff and the backlash that he's gotten versus casting POC characters. Versus, he said, like, they were like, oh, do you follow when people get mad at you for casting, like, POC actors and characters? And he's like, no, I'm gonna cast the people who we see in our real world, because that's what it is and that's what we represent. And I was like, that's a better response than, no offense, your homie and everyone's homie now, James Gunn's response when they asked him the same thing back in what was it, like February or March, and I think this was Variety or Hollywood Reporter, same thing. They asked him the same question and he gave an awful response, and that's what got me afraid about Superman.
Wait.
You don't remember this, bro?
Nah, I don't remember. Nah.
Yeah, he gave a terrible ass response, and I was like, "Ooh, bro, that sounds gross." He was basically like, "Oh, I don't care about color. I don't see color. I just cast the best people and whoever's good." And I'm like, "That's a terrible response, bro. That's trash, bro. That's a trash ass response, bro. You can't be. This is 2025, bro. You can't be like, whoa." Everyone's equal. I see everyone the same. I don't see color. Come on, bro. That's some bullshit.
Hey, man.
That's some bullshit, bro.
Kind of spot, man. I mean,
That's
I
a
don't know.
shit. That's a shit response, though, bro. Come on,
I
bro.
mean, he an old man, bro. I mean, listen, the one thing I will say, like, you know, I do like. There's something as much as I like Fantastic Four. There's something that gets giggly in my heart about the fact that James Gunn was a Marvel director who got fired from Marvel. He came back, but you know, like he went from directing for one company to like going to the direct competitor and not just doing it better than he was under Marvel, but also as soon as he's gone, like there's a giant void in the MCU now of like quality. Like, oh man, like I don't know, there's just something that about that
Oh
whole
yeah,
situation. I'm like, oh man, that is kind of radical. Like that's kind of punk rock right there, man. Like, because
yeah.
really, I'm kind of like, dang, how much was James? Because there's they said in a Marvel or like the MCU history book that like came out last year or something like that, that like he was pretty much giving notes and like advising on like all the phase 2 and I think like phase 3 projects and stuff like that. Like, but if he was really that interweave, like, gosh dang, they should have been paying him a lot more money.
I think that's what
Just
he
seeing
felt. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know,
Because
so
he said that. I think he even said. I mean, he interviews all the time for crying out loud. But he
right,
said in a ton of interviews that he was giving notes about Thanos and about Infinity Stones and all that, and how it
right,
works and who's in control of what and what vision he has for each one.
right,
Um, yeah, he talked about that. So yeah, he was kind of like low key like a right hand or left hand man of Kevin Feige. Um,
right.
so yeah,
Shoot, comes back to bite, like
yeah, bro, rivalries, bro. This is how they start.
yeah.
The apprentice
So
becomes a master, and now he's trying to get him in a force battle. DC versus
hey,
MCU.
hey, look, man. I like Gunn. I like what he's doing. I like the vision for DC. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm excited, bro. I'm still excited. I'm still trying to be optimistic as I can. And I think a lot of projects sound exciting, so I really want it to be good. So the only thing now, man, that we got lined up that for sure Marvel is gonna do, obviously, is Doomsday. And I won't say that's
eh,
the only thing, but
or a brand new day too.
yeah, but I still think that's more of a Sony project, if I'm being honest. Um, but Doomsday, how are you feeling about Doomsday, especially after Fantastic Four?
Again, I'm just very curious to see how how the Russo brothers are gonna get talked to now. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the pressure is even higher now. Like I feel like Marvel, it's the same. Like I feel like we are now in the place where the DCEU was after Batman v Superman. Not that this was like Batman v Superman level, but it was like the direct competition aspect of it, right? Like when it was 2016, it was Civil War versus Batman v Superman, and Civil War clearly won. And then DC went into scramble mode, got involved in Justice League, ripped it apart, and we know the story behind that. I feel like Marvel is in the flip side now. They just had their Marvel versus DC moment. Now Marvel's lost while they're in production of their big team up movie. Yeah, I think something's gonna go a little, I don't know if it's gonna go right. Honestly, it shouldn't go right. Marvel, you should have brought back Jonathan Majors. What y'all doing now? I'm just kidding. Okay. I'm kidding a little bit. I mean, they could at least bring J Mage back for like a quick cameo, like kill him off or something like that. At the very least. But
Yeah, I mean it's all. I mean it's not all a shit show, but it definitely has become a shit show that started low key with Quantumania. That's
yeah,
what kicked off Phase Five, I believe. Um, and that's what kicked off this madness, bro. Yeah, it really needs to pick back up, and I really do hope that Doomsday does that. And I hope it does it in not a Deadpool and Wolverine kind of way, where it's just all the stupidest stuff you can possibly imagine inside of one movie.
yeah,
And I mean, if you've kept up with New Rockstars,
yeah.
people go to New Rockstars because I mean, homie goes hard and he gets down. I mean, you gotta
I
admit
like
it.
New Rock Stars. Yeah, no, I love New Rock Stars. This is my guy, Eric Voss.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro. I mean, he speculates the crap out of everything, but you gotta
right.
give credit that sometimes that's where your head is at. And he speculated like a war world or something like that, where like everyone fights each other. Did you hear about that?
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like,
Like a,
it sounds really dumb, in my opinion.
what that's. I mean,
Uh, And I'm just like, all right, it's just a battle
Battle
movie,
World, yeah, Battle
Battle
World, yeah.
World, and it's like, I mean, because War World is DC. Uh, but Battle World, where everyone is fighting each other like at a Tekken tournament, bro, is this King of the Iron Fist or something?
I mean,
And I'm like, all right, that sounds dumb as hell.
yeah.
Let's figure it out. I really hope it's not that dumb as it sounds, and I hope it has some actual like human emotion and stakes, and not just like versus this. Who will win? And I'm like, all right, bro, is this what we're doing now, Marvel? We're making
I don't
versus
know.
videos. I watch YouTube videos of that, not
maybe,
movies.
maybe that's where we're headed, bro. I don't know. Like,
I don't
that's
know,
kind of,
bro. That
yeah. I
sounds like
mean,
trash, bro. I'm gonna be honest. It
I
sounds cool
mean,
for a YouTube video, but
yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like trash. But you definitely know that Marvel is also, they're just not thinking about Marvel anymore. They're thinking about theme parks. They're thinking about merchandising. They're thinking about they don't care about movies. In fact, to heck with movies. Movies are losing the money. Let's just make it the most theme parky, versus we could how can we make a theme park? How we could sell video games? How can we sell merchandise? Like that's literally what I feel like the priority of the Marvel movies are going to be for the next like few years.
that sounds terrible, man. And I guess my biggest fear is like I'll forgive it for Doomsday because whatever, I won't. And you know me, I won't forgive it for X-Men. They better not dumb down or dumbify the X-Men, which they might. How
They
are you
might
feeling about X-Men?
X Men. I'm actually excited for because again, it's the Thunderbolts director Drake. Again, I can't remember his name, but he worked on Beef. Like he seems like he has a real grip of like how to do these blockbusters but still incorporate like mental health, real world issues. You know, I think X Men is kind of the perfect avenue for that. Like engaging in real world conversations. I mean, we saw Thunderbolts like Florence Pugh was like drinking. You know what I'm saying? Like talking about she was like depressed and all that. I mean, I know it's not a lot, but like versus something like Iron Man 2 where he's like, "Oh, I'm drinking," and I'm like, they're having fun with it. Like, nah, they're actually addressing something. I would love to see X Men address something. Like, they can't not do it and not address anything. That's the only. I feel like that's the main thing that's been missing from the X Men movie so far. So,
Yeah, that's my fear, right? That my fear is they're going so down the middle, to the point that they won't address anything,
yeah,
and they won't make it actually thoughtful or challenging in any kind of way. But again, this is just my pessimism talking. I really am hoping for the best, and I'm hoping that they do pick it up because X Men is the one that you absolutely need to nail because all those characters are icons. And if X Men 97 taught us anything, is that X Men can last forever, man. People love X Men, and they do
yeah.
love them because they do challenge you and they do kind of reflect a lot of real world issues, and that's what people like about it.
By the way, y'all, I don't know if y'all follow Bo DeMayo on Twitter, but he's easily one of my favorite follows, like of all time, because this man tweets so much hate about Marvel Studios it's like almost every 12 minutes on the dot. Like he'll have about 5 tweets an hour that is just ripping Kevin Feige. I'm like, yo, why do you care this much? But son had a bad experience, and I do think, man, ah, are we gonna get a Blade movie? Like that? These are kind of questions we got to ask now. Like I think with Fantastic Four not doing well, with Doomsday, I think not gonna do well. I mean, again, it's another Justice League situation happening right in real time. I don't know. I feel like this might be the end. They either are going to do a hard reset after Secret Wars or just end it. It might just literally just be over. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if it was over, they should end it at Endgame. But like
I
you know,
mean, I do feel like they're gonna try really hard to keep going at least for another 5 6 years. In the direction they're going at least. I think my thing now and something that James Gunn always kind of opened the door to, is doing Elseworld stories. He said we're gonna do DC timeline, DC movies, and then we're gonna do Elseworld movies, which is DC characters in a different universe. And that's what he said about the Batman, the Matt Reeves Batman, is that that's an Elseworld. That's the first Elseworld movie, which I hope it stays that way. By the way, I know there's that still
it's
people are still
speculated.
clamoring Put Robert Pattinson in. Oh, please don't. Please don't. Keep that Elseworld and let Elseworld stories be Elseworld stories. Like, let it be different. Let it be fun. Let it be darker if it needs to be darker, especially after Superman. My God, that movie doesn't reach any kind of levels of dark. So make actual dark movies and make it actually R-rated and different.
I mean, I can see so like Marvel doing Elseworlds, like
make Blade an Elseworld story. How about that?
cool with that. I mean, that'd be
And not
fine.
worry about like, well, where's Doctor Doom and Blade? And it's like, it doesn't matter. This is a different universe. And maybe that could save Marvel in some way. I don't know. I'm just shooting shit. If I was in a production room right now, I'm a producer, putting my producer hat on.
Yeah, I mean, low key, you're not lying because that's what kind of did save the DCEU, like, or not even DCU, but that's what kind of bridged the gap between the DCEU and the new James Gunn version was those Elseworlds, like Joker, like the Batman, you know, like all of that was kind of the easing point for audience to kind of hop off the rail. I feel like, yeah, Marvel definitely has the opportunity to do that. I feel like if they were to do that, I feel like that would be a perfect point to like introduce a Miles Morales, introduce, you know, like characters that people actually care about. I feel like they're speeding so fast to like, oh, Fantastic Four, like the OG family, like, oh, you know, Doctor Doom, like they're going for all these big old characters. Like, go for what the young generation are really rocking with. Go with Miles Morales. Go with, you know, who's the new Ghost Rider?
Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie Reyes. Yeah, go for that. Like, you know, go fresh and go like exciting and make people excited about seeing fan favorites instead of like trying to force Robert Downey Jr. down everybody's toes. All in respect to RDJ, but you know, and I love that. And by the way, I keep saying this. I really liked Fantastic Four. Like, it was a good movie. Like, I really do want people to take that away from what I'm saying. It could have been better, and I want Marvel to be better. You know,
100%, man. Yeah. Again, there's a good movie there, and it's already pretty good. It just needed a lot more time and room to breathe, in my opinion. So, any final thoughts, RB3?
Nah, man. I'll say DC 1, Marvel 0 for the first time since, honestly, since The Dark Knight. You know what I'm saying?
Damn,
yeah. I mean,
yeah, and that was Iron Man too. That was with not Iron Man. Yeah, it was.
Iron Man.
Yeah, it was Iron Man.
Yeah. I mean, but it's The Dark Knight. I mean, you know, there's no question. But yeah, I mean, it happens. Just the cycle of justice. And the first it's funny. The first Iron Man was the kickoff for that. Now we're at the kickoff for DC, and they're in the lead. About, you know, it's I like it.
Yeah, man. DC's here to cook, bro. Hopefully, they keep doing it. So. And hopefully Marvel, I still love Marvel. I'm still going to watch anything Marvel, to be honest, for the most part, as long as it's not like crazy. But I most likely will. And I still support Marvel. So Marvel, pick it back up, man. We need you. We need you back on the court, and we need you scoring threes right now. So either way, Fantastic Four was fun. It could just be a lot more than fun, in my opinion. So, either way, guys, those were our thoughts on Fantastic Four. Let us know what you guys thought in the comments down below. What do you think about Marvel, the direction they're headed, and what do you think about the future projects that they have lined up? You can follow us right here at First Cut, and you can follow me at Squad Leader 8 and RB3.
You can follow me at Director RB3. And also, check out Eyes of Wakanda. That was also fire.
Yep.
For sure, gotta check that out.
Yeah, Eyes of Wakanda right now on Disney Plus is already up, so check that out for sure. Either way, guys, for the First Cut crew, we're going to be peacing out, so peace, deuces.
Only one can remain. It's either me or you. Only one can remain. It's either me or you. Take you out the equation. It's either me or you. You do the math. Only one can remain.